next time.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good
It is Wednesday. Okay, sir. It is Wednesday.
morning, Troy.
Right. He said, good morning, where? Sit down. How's everyone doing this beautiful Wednesday? I am so excited, y'all.
Me too. I can't believe it's December. We're halfway through the month.
I'm like, halfway through what? The year is almost over.
I know, but it's halfway through the month to the end of the year.
Yes.
So we got a couple more weeks until 21.
And we're completely done with the year. And, 2020 is going to be over. This is a special episode, so I'm so excited. I hope y'all can tune in, join us, share. We hardly do this, so I'm really excited to see how it's going to go. We usually have a guest join us and, share their stories and stuff. But because this is our last one, we are trying to do, just something different and really want to show our squad off. I think that's the most exciting thing for me, just showing off the squad. I definitely want to take some time though and shout out our viewers, like our ride or die viewers who are always making sure they tune in on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Those viewers, we appreciate you all. See, I love this. I don't know if it's because she's my sister and she don't really got a choice, but
I think she loves us because she be doing stuff.
Let me make my daughter join in. Let me not give her a choice.
And then of course, one of our favorites too, Derek is always tuning in. He's always, he's at work and he'll still try to tune in. And I love that. I love hearing his stories of how he either is almost about to miss it or he catches his right on time. I love it. I love the energy. So thank you all.
Me too. I love all the support. It makes us come back every week.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. I think this, I really want to just mention real quick our my favorite meme this year, because as we talked about the end of the year, my favorite one, it says, I haven't seen no 2021. I'm ready for you.
I've seen that meme.
Y'all are scared, aren't you?
Yes.
I have not posted anything about the upcoming year because I am low-key afraid. But 2020 wasn't too crazy.
I was going to say, I think I'm hopeful because if you made it to 2021, then, you have a lot to be thankful for and you have a lot to look forward to. Especially with the new administration coming in. We got these vaccines rolling out. Hopefully we'll return to some level of normalcy. So, don't be scared, y'all. I ain't scared.
I'm scared. Good morning, Selena. Welcome. Yeah, so I definitely wanted to shout out everyone who watches us, who tunes in with us. I invite you all to join us. This is a special episode because it is actually our last one for 2020. We are not done with Walk It Like You Talk It. Let me clarify. It is just the last one of the year. And we will be back, in February, middle of February, I think we'll be back with Walk It. I probably, what I was thinking about, I probably won't even be here, y'all.
You won't. You probably won't. But you might.
That'll be my excuse. I got to jump on Walk It real quick. I don't know. Maybe just pop in and
maybe coming up to all the food trucks. Like, I'm just making sure everything all right.
So our guest today. So let's break it down for y'all. So today we are going to have our whole squad join us. We're going to have Erica. We're going to have Quentin. We're going to have Aisha, and we're just gonna recap how Make It Work. Made it work this year.
I was gonna say, how we made it work.
Man, because it's been a hell of a year. I could say hell, right? They say it in TV. It's fine.
But this ain't even TV, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right.
Tomato, potato.
What?
I got you.
All right. I think, let's see. So today we definitely wanted to ask our folks, how we usually do our Wednesday win. We're going to change it up a bit. We're going to actually be asking our viewers, what is your 2020 win?
Yeah.
we're going to do this we're going to stick to our Wednesday win, but I definitely want us to kind of take a step back and think about our year, everyone who's watching us, and find a win. I think we all had a tough year, but there's some hopeful people out there. So please comment what's your 2020 win. We will be sharing ours at the end, so stay tuned. But yeah, we're just gonna probably wait for. We got one guest on, so we're just gonna kind of go on like that. I don't know if I can get a thumbs up for my guests because they're in the queue. Maybe I can throw you up if you possibly ready. Yes, yes, no. Okay, I got a hit. No, not ready.
Well, I think what we can do is talk about our own wrap up of the year. Really quick. Shonda, what has this year been like for you?
I don't know. It was a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure my story isn't no different from many other people's story. The transition from working from home with the kids and Cameron having an IEP and still not being able to properly navigate school on his own. All of his health issues that he's had to overcome. It's been a lot. So I think for even like you said, for me to just make it to the end and like we're looking forward to a new year is a win in itself. But I think overall, just overcoming all of those obstacles and still being able to support the community in the way that we do and still be embedded in the work was more than enough. It was like it didn't feel separate. It felt like, all of it was family. It didn't feel like work. All of it felt like family being helped. And so it felt good. That was a total win to me. All of the families that we were able to keep inside of housing, the people that we were able to provide food and personal needs for, all of the partnerships that we did, people who included us, who thought enough to include us. So all of those were wins for me.
That's dope. What about you?
And getting you in the office with us versus on live all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You added a lot of good things to me, Cindy. So
Aww. Shonda.
A lot happened in my life this year. I think I was very, very blessed this year. And I learned how to be a little bit more humble because we are listening to these stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard for me to even share my wins because I'm like, dang, all these folks,
mm-hmm.
are going through this and it's hard. But I definitely want to just share my wins because I do have 3 big wins. Well, I got engaged this year, which is crazy to me. I still can't believe that. We got a house, so we are homeowners. And, we're expecting our last little one. So I got 3 months left, but we're bringing a new life into this world. And we won the elections. So for me, that's a win.
Yeah.
For me. Of course.
Wins.
How about you, Cindy?
I think for me this year, gosh, I feel like I went through a lot of different changes too. I worked in higher education for like over a decade. So transitioning into, it was also nonprofit in the sense that it was a state school, but working in movement work was a transition for me. And so just learning and it felt good to have a new challenge and to understand to what I know this far, like the whole network and how we create change in our society from the ground up. That has been humbling and gratifying in so many ways. I think my major win was definitely joining Make It Work Nevada. Lord, like we fight, we cry, we laugh together. We are our own little family. But I love it here. I wouldn't trade it. It is the first workplace where I ever felt seen and valued in my whole being as a Black woman in the workplace. and you just, it's worth so much more than you know when you've worked in predominantly white spaces. And I think all the ways that I've been challenged to level up. I moved this year. Just so many different changes that were difficult, but I just stayed focused on trying to make it a plus. So I won't say nobody in my family, but nobody in my family got detrimentally ill from COVID. I didn't. I've taken a few tests and I never contracted it. So there's a lot of wins there, and I'm just, I love y'all, and I'm happy to be working with all of y'all here. So
we appreciate you.
Thank you. That feels so nice.
All right, y'all. So we have
good people.
We have our very, very first guest, which, of course, she is the one that is behind everything Make It Work Nevada has done. Our very, very own executive director, Erica. So I want to see if everybody can give her some love in the comments, and she's coming right up. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
I am all right. Cold. I forgot I still have my hat on. I guess I should just keep it on now.
It was cute though.
Well, thank you. It was cold in here. I'm at the office and it was a little nippy. So I stayed all bundled up, but we do have heat, so and it does work.
That's definitely a win.
Yeah, that's better than the last. That's a step up.
So Erica, we're gonna jump right into it this morning. And so the question that I want to ask you is, how did Make It Work Nevada pivot in the time of COVID?
Our pivot was stealth, and it was a lot. So also, just as a side note, there is someone here. They're putting in cameras or whatever, so hopefully it won't be noisy. Be using a drill, I hope. But so 2020, Make It Work has always been about the events. Events have been our jam. Showing up places. Everybody knows I like to feed people, pop-ups. So, with our food truck vendors and all of that. And coming into a time of social distancing and staying away from people has made it really difficult for us to do what we know how to do best. And so it's required us to figure out, okay, how do we still make sure people know that we're here and people want to connect with us? Because I do know that as much as, a lot of folks love and think that the stuff we're doing is great, that didn't really translate to them wanting to hang out with us online. So we had to get really creative, including shows like this, be able to reach the folks who normally would not, when they're scrolling through the interwebs, that they are not necessarily looking at social media of a political organization or a nonprofit or whatever, because traditionally it can be very bland and very boring. I'd like to say that we are not, and we can always use some improvement. So if folks have suggestions on things, we are open to suggestions, because we want people to want to watch the stuff that we are producing, and we're not just doing it to say that we did something. We want people to look at it as like, oh shoot, I should go over and see what Make It Work is doing, or they say some fun stuff, or look how cute their staff is. Let's just look at how it is. So all of that, we're all really good people doing this work. So I think that for us, when it comes to the pivot, it's just really it's something we've always got to do to stay on our toes. We're a Black-led organization. We advocate for Black women and other women of color, and that is usually very much like a fad. It comes in waves. Over the years, people are really interested in what Black women are doing or what brown women are doing at particular times, as opposed to all the time. And so we're trying to let folks know that we are dope all the time, and you shouldn't miss out.
Yes.
Love that. Yes. We're dope all the time.
Brenda's being attacked by a dog.
I know.
Ray is giving her all the love. He knows it's almost time for that baby.
They're just so attached right now. I don't know if it's normal, but
I think it's baby.
It's
I
the
think
baby love.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it is.
they're trying to figure out what's going on in there. Something's wrong with you.
What
Yeah.
you eat? I want whatever you ate.
Right. Yeah. You probably just smell like food all the time too. So yeah, that could just be that.
No, I stay eating. Oh. All right, Erica. I think Shada has one more question for you.
I do. Can you share with us your win for 2020?
I'm still standing. I'm still here. That
Right.
is it.
That's a win for sure.
I said something yesterday in a meeting. This work is hard on a good day. On a perfect day, this work can break your heart. This work can put you in a position to question why or if it's even worth it. And so when you compound that with a pandemic, which I don't know that anybody has ever thought about being in a pandemic, and what does that feel like? You read about the plague in books, things like that. So, to have to do that, and the majority of we have children of all different ages. We have our own families and responsibilities. We have our own ways in which we deal with stress, that we have to think about all those things at the same time. So I think for me, the win was being able to help keep my team, together. I think trying to make sure that we stay connected in a way that we were able to really go back to the baseline and say, okay, how are you? What's going on with you? What do you need in order to make sure you can get from this point to the next? And so, the win is I'm still standing, the team's still standing. We've all stayed as safe as possible, and we didn't kill each other being frustrated with the fact of being in a pandemic, and, stuff just gets real stressful at times. And, I think it proves that, the entire team, plus the new person is here. That's a lot. There's some work that across the country didn't make it at all. So, the work will continue, and I want to continue to stay in it. And I'm grateful for all of you. So that's also my gratitude for today is each of you.
Aw.
Thank you.
Can I say really quick, Erica? I really do appreciate that you take time. You're intentional about asking everybody how they're feeling. Because one, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that in a workplace where it's like, let's pause. What is everybody dealing with before we move forward? And I think it's a really good way to set the tone for people to work together. So I just want to say I appreciate that. Even sometimes I'm like, oh, here we go with these feelings.
Leave our crying cocktails alone, okay?
Right. I agree with you. I
crying.
appreciate having that space because it allows us to grow together because of all the transparency.
Well, if I don't know what's happening with you, then I can't understand why other things are happening or not happening. And you have to take all of that into account. Like the work still needs to get done, obviously. But, sometimes we can't do it to our best abilities if a lot of things are happening outside and then you're not really sure where to go. And then sometimes folks just don't even know what to ask and say, well, this is going on and this is going on. I'm like, oh, okay, so did you reach out to such and such? Oh, no, I didn't even know I could do that. And so when we carry all that stuff with us all the time, we're just making our own load harder. And then other folks don't necessarily know how to help. And so I think it's important that we ask for help. But that comes from knowing that people actually want to know what's wrong with you in the first place. Because some people just don't give a crap in the first place. So there's that.
I appreciate you. I think we all appreciate you. You are a fantastic leader, Erica. And I think Make It Work Nevada came this far because of your leadership. So definitely, everybody give some love to Miss Erica because she's just great.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you're so thank you for joining us, giving us 10 minutes of your day.
Yes, because now I have another meeting I actually have to go to.
We know, we got you. We timed this well.
You are very good with your time too, as well. And thank you for putting this show together. I think that you all have done some really creative things this year. And, I just think everybody needs to watch out for next year because, space, new year, new us, all the things. I ain't gonna say about 21 because I talked mad crap about 19 and how great 20 was going to be. So, one day at a time, but I know we're going to do some good stuff.
Thank you. All right, we'll let you go. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh man, that's just great. I love it.
Right. Who's up next?
I don't think people are ready for our next guest. I think we have the dopest political director in the game. I'm just saying. Up next, we have of the one and only Quentin. And, sometimes I think I'm just like, oh, I really like Quentin because I feel like he's very smart. But sometimes when we're like in other meetings with other partners and everybody just shows so much love to him, I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. So
everybody loves Quentin. They just meet Quentin one time. I just love Quentin.
Don't you want to tell him like that?
I love him too. That's why I give him a hard time though, because I just appreciate his whole heart and soul and all of that.
So for those who don't know Quentin, he is gonna right here. I'm gonna pop him up right now. So please give him some love. This is Mr. Quentin.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You. Hey.
You know.
How are you this morning?
What's up, team? I'm doing okay this morning. How's everybody else doing?
We're good. We out
good.
We
out here
doing the positive.
Hey, we can say. I think it's a morning show. It's a morning
show. We out here doing positive shit. So make it work out here. Right. Shit. I'm just saying.
I posted if your friends.
It works, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it works fine.
We're just quoting somebody.
Right.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Clinton. This year has been a crazy year. You have been, in the trenches with us. We're there. Did I use the right word?
Trenches.
But
it's cool. It's
you know what you mean. Yes.
But you've been out there with us, you are always there. So of course, I'll get the pleasure to ask you these questions today. And our first question for you, Mr. Political Director, it is, let me find it. There it is. How was it working this presidential election during this pandemic?
That's a great question. And I think it's a great question because it was more than just a pandemic going on, right? We've never had a president jeopardize democracy the way that we saw this current president doing it. And it was very, very scary. We live in the wild, wild west, and that became very apparent to me this election season. Even when I wasn't working, when I was just running personal errands, it would be so commonplace to see people riding down the highways with their big oversized USA flags and their Trump flags, or to go into the CVS or the Target and you've got an AR-15 on your back. It was very scary. It felt very much like, okay, things could get very serious. So it felt like more than just an election. It felt like literally our lives were on the line in terms of human existence. So it was worrisome. It was anxiety stricken. It was exciting days. It was hard to sleep many days. It was all the things, which is why I think that first Saturday in November after the election, and again, I always preface Make It Work Nevada and Make It Work Nevada Education Fund are nonpartisan organizations, but that Saturday after Election Day was a very sweet day. It felt light. I haven't felt that light in a long time, and I didn't know that I needed to feel that light. I didn't even do anything that day. You saw folks all around the country going out and having parades and popping bottles, and I wanted to be there, but pandemic, right? So I was popping bottles at home. But as I just reflected on the day, I thought about John Lewis, and I thought about, okay, we saved democracy for now. Let's keep up the fight. So long-winded way of saying it was all the feelings to work this presidential cycle.
And then as a political director, you also had special session. Yes, and we had 2 special sessions in Nevada. So how did you just, all of it, how did you just work through that?
You don't know what you can do until you have to. And that's not just in my job, that's in the lives of the families that we organize, right? We've had countless conversations with women and families all throughout the Valley, all throughout the state, about how they've realized their own resilience in this pandemic, how they've realized what is possible when they didn't think it was possible. So you truly don't know what you can do until it's thrusted upon you. So I've been fortunate to maintain a job, right? So the least I could do is just try to juggle my responsibilities as best I can so that I'm getting good information to the folks we work alongside. Special session was a heartache. It was a heartache because coronavirus really exposed how vulnerable our state is. It's amazing to me. I don't think I'm the most brilliant person in the world. Everybody need a squad like y'all to gas you up the way y'all do, because I really appreciate the love. But I'm a thinking person, right? So when all this happened and the governor came out and said we had this $1 billion budget shortfall, it's just amazing to me that no one's had the foresight to say, hey, we should do something about how vulnerable our economy is. You don't need to have it happen to know that you need to prepare for it. If your main source of income are people coming to town and you can't have people come to town, well, then you're in a hell of a predicament. So it's just amazing to me how we have allowed our state to be, I won't say governed. We haven't been as forward thinking as we need to be. We haven't valued labor the way we need to. We haven't placed the priority on family the way that we need to. And I think that we're upon some changes, but we still got to keep fighting for the stuff like childcare, affordable housing. We have a housing crisis that is unprecedented. Fortunately, the governor extended that moratorium, but my goodness gracious, and of course, paid family leave is our bread and butter, and it is our principal marquee advocacy issue because we know that paid family leave saves families and it saves the state money. So it's been tough, B, but we're here.
It's so crazy when, during the Great Recession, as they called, when President Obama first came into office, it seemed, Nevada was hit hard again because we had only tourism really that we rely on, especially in Southern Nevada. And it seemed like at first there was some forward thinking where they had the rainy day fund, but you're right. It's like there has to be an expansion of how we are going to support our state and not have all our eggs in one basket or even two baskets. And I think it also exposed where our values lie as a state. And so it's just like when we come to this budget shortfall, what does it say about what's important to us? And I think it's important to for people to think about that as we're coming up into the next legislative session, that our budget is going to reflect our values as a state and the people of our state. And so all of that goes into
No, you make a great point. And that's not yes, all those things. But I think even more than that, because we've heard folks say this before, our budget, our priorities are listed in our budget. And we say that and it's become, a great catchphrase when you're trying to fight the good fight. But no, we're literally at a point where people are dying. And we're literally at a point where families can't bear the brunt anymore. The strain has become so severe. And I've been saying this, right? Like even the folks that used to be like, no, I'm good. I'm middle class. No, there is no middle class anymore. Everyone is struggling. And if you're not struggling, you're doing good. There is no in between. So something has to give, which is why I've been saying we have to reevaluate how we value labor. And that's not just that's a conversation and a narrative that needs to shift everywhere at the state level, in the casino executive rooms, like everywhere, because if you don't have people to power your businesses, then none of this is going to matter.
I agree 1,000%. And that's why I just love having you around. We can have these like nerdy one-off political, most people don't care that much about state politics and what it really means in a larger framework. But, that these are the things that impact us directly. And, love having you around, brother.
We can't not care anymore. That's the thing. Like I'm telling everybody, we can't not care. That's the thing. It feels like
we can't afford not to care anymore.
Right. It's like we stopped caring at some point and now we're like trying to care again. And it's like, well, stuff's really, really bad, y'all. Like it's pretty awful. And we need folks to start caring again so that you're showing up to county commission meetings and planning commission meetings and testifying, writing a letter. Even if you just go to say, hey, I know my thing's not on the agenda today, but I want you to know the school in my neighborhood is still bad and we need you to do something about it. Just making the constant pressure known on these elected officials is altogether too important.
Thank
Great.
you, Quentin. I got one more
Thank
because
you.
I'm going to ask everyone.
Yes.
What is your 2020 win?
Oh man, I started seeing a therapist this year, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. And it's been pretty cool. It's been very enlightening because it's made me pause and think about my priorities, my agenda. This work will consume you. This work will encompass your entire identity if you let it. So I say to folks, if you find yourself not sleeping because of this work for liberation and justice, think about your agenda. Think about how you can level yourself up by way of the work, because you can both fight for Black liberation and equity and justice and be fighting for yourself to see clearly and have a goal for yourself. And that was my 2020 win, because I kind of lost it for a good long while. And I'm glad to be back at a place where I feel anchored.
Oh, I love that.
Beautiful win. Thank you, Q. Thank you for being.
No problem. And can I special shout out another just professional win was having one of our own ambassadors run for political office. Shout out to Tamika Henry, one of our favorite people ever. We couldn't do a whole lot, but I was so happy to see her run for office because we need public servants like Tamika Henry. And we need folks that care about community in elected office, more folks that care about community like Tamika Henry in elected office. So that was a professional highlight for this year. So thanks, y'all.
Yes, that was amazing. Thank you, Q, for giving us some of your time.
Absolutely.
We're gonna let you go because we know you busy. You stay busy as well. Good.
All right. See y'all January 7th on Make It Make Sense. Have happy holidays, everybody.
You see a commercial plug right there. Thank you, Q. That was funny. He said January 7th.
He's ready for the big times. You know, he's ready.
All right. So we have our very last guest, which of course is our organizing manager. She's just been great. I think, I get very emotional because she is such a great support, and Aisha just did great this year. I think she was a great add-on to Make It Work Nevada, and I think we would have not probably done it without her. So definitely show some.
I was gonna say, how about we can bring her on and we just gloat on all of the things that she's done.
I had to do an intro though, but everybody, please help us welcome Miss Aisha.
Hey, Aisha.
Good morning, Coach.
You can't hear?
Can't hear us.
Uh-oh. And we can't hear you.
Let's see if she can.
Don't bring her on, just gloat on all the good stuff.
We have some comments I totally missed.
Oof.
We had Amira and my daughter say hi, Mom.
I was gonna
hi, Amira.
Everybody loves Quentin's hair.
I know. Ashley Randolph, glad you're having such a wonderful time. Thank you, Ashley. Is Aisha back with us?
Yes.
Let's try it again.
All right, here we go. Hey, how y'all doing?
We're good. We were loving on you and you didn't even hear anything.
I didn't hear anything, but that's okay. We good.
I love to hear like that.
Yeah. So I'm in the office, and so we have some there's a lot going on. So
yeah.
That's fine. This is all Cindy. Go ahead, Cindy.
Oh yeah, I forgot this was my turn. Okay, yeah. I got to interview Aisha because we've just taken to each other like big sis, little sis. And it's been amazing to watch you first be around the org as an ambassador and just a person kind of looking after all of us like a little fairy godmother, and then officially joining the team. And so I watched how you kind of shifted and shaped some things. So when we kind of got stuck, to help us push through the muck of quarantine and, get some things done and get the ball rolling. So I just want to ask you to elaborate on how you did that, how you got the organizing going and in a flow for this year, and how you were able to still keep us connected to the community, because I think that was probably how a lot of orgs weren't able, I won't say weren't able to, but found that as a challenge in dealing with the pandemic.
So first, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show. I consider it a privilege to be on the Walking Like It Talking. I just really enjoyed the show. This is one of my favorite shows. Me and my friend Derek, this is one of our favorite shows. And so one of the most difficult things to do during this pandemic, I hate that word pivot, right? But one of the most difficult things to do was to embrace the new norm, right? What was that going to look like? And it took a lot of just kind of considering my community. You know, I'm very passionate about my people. I live, breathe, and drink whatever's going on in my community. So just wanting to be in that space and wanting to be present and wanting to make it work to be present in that space. That's really all it took. You guys wanted to be there. You know, everybody wanted to serve. When you have a passion to serve the people, everything else just kind of falls in line, right? So I did a lot of meditating, a lot of praying, asking for guidance. I fasted a lot, you know, and I'm not going to pretend, because that's what I did. I didn't depend completely and solely on me, but we wanted it, right? We wanted it, and it got scary at some times. We definitely butted heads a few times because the train was moving forward, right? And, you know, sometimes people don't want to get on the train, but ultimately here we are. We have arrived in some ways, and in some spaces we're having a good time doing what we love. And anytime you're having a good time doing what you love, it's not work, right? It's just all love. So yeah.
I love it. Well, this is a side question. Through all the different things that we did out in the community, what's probably, let me ask you, your favorite memory? What's something that stands out to you, like this was a good moment and it just made your heart smile?
I would say it was Power Hour with the Sigma Gamma Rose. You know, just having those ladies be engaged with us and showing up for Power Hour, and then after having that time spent and they really enjoyed it, and, you know, just really Make It Work Nevada like all of their attention and all their focus, but then also was able to serve the community and say at the end, we had a great time. Like, you know, that was like, I will take that everywhere with me. Like, even when I'm stuck in situations right now, that's what I remember. I remember, like, if your team, if we can present community work as love and passion and fun, people will just get behind you and flow, right? And that's kind of what I'm thinking constantly now as we do the work. Like, I love one of the things that our executive director, Erica, says is, you know, you got to find a place that's going to fit you and then get into work, right? I want our work to be the place where people find themselves and fit in and want to get behind the work. And so that's when we did Power Hour. That's what we were creating. We were creating that next movement of people wanting to be connected to the work.
Yeah, I love that.
I have one more question, because I definitely wanted this to be amplified. And you are the organizing manager, and, you know, a lot of the work was done with you being behind the wheel, Aisha. So sorry if we take up a little bit more of the time that we told you, but I definitely wanted to amplify this. I really wanted you to kind of talk about how we did political calls versus our wellness calls during this pandemic.
You know what? I'm glad that you pointed that out, Brenda. You know, while we were in the middle of election time and everyone was making thousands of calls and their sole focus was to get people to the polls, our sole focus was to make sure that people were connected to the information that was available. We were in a national pandemic. Most important thing that was mattering is people's lives, right? And what Make It Work was able to do with, you know, no extra funding at all. Just, you know, look, this is where we at. This is what we gonna do. We gonna take care of our people. Like, that's how we get down. Yep. We're not going to stop what we do. So while everybody was making calls trying to figure out like who they're going to vote for, not that that wasn't the lead in, you know, not that we're not doing our due diligence to make sure that people have voting plans, but more so we were calling to connect to our community to make sure that they were connected to the resources that were available. We have this thing in our mind where we think if we put can I cuss?
Everybody keeps asking that.
3 passwords have been out there already, so
You know, I know how to make it work you down, but I know y'all ladies try to keep it tough, so I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? But we have this thing in our mind where we think we put shit on the Facebook or the Instagram and everybody know. No, if you ain't got 20,000, 30,000 followers, motherfuckers don't know what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like putting a sign on the street somewhere saying you having a moving sale. The only people gonna see it is the people who in your neighborhood, right? So what we did was we said, you know what, let's focus on making sure that people that aren't connected or don't have access to the information have the information. And so we called and still are calling people. So I just want to give myself a little plug, Make It Work a plug. I got Power Hour today at 2. But one of the things that we were able to do is use that timeline because people are answering their phones, right? So we used that timeline to ask them, did they understand that rental assistance was available? Did they understand how to get access to rental assistance? Did they know that the CDC moratorium was extended till December 31st? Did they have the paperwork to the moratorium, right? We were asking if there was, if they knew how to get food, if they had COVID, because we had access to food. In some cases, we were sending out diapers. We were, just connecting people to the resources. And that's really what Make It Work does, right? Like we make sure that we know what the resources are, that we know who the key people who are providing the resources, and we connect them. One of the other things that I love about Make It Work, I was saying this yesterday because again, we in our office and I'm looking outside, we right on the boulevard, right? One of the things that I was saying to Alcinia and Quentin, our leaders, yesterday was, I get to do this. I love what I get to do, right? It is a fucking privilege to get up every morning and serve my community. Like that is everything for me. And when we're sitting here and we're having our powwows and, and it ain't always fun and games, right? But when we're sitting here and we're dialoguing, every single thing that we're dialoguing, the center of that is our community. And God damn it, that's some dope ass shit. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the things that, we have really just centered on is who needs the information and who has the information, right? Mm-hmm. The people who already have the information are the ones keep sharing the information for the people that don't need the information. Like, what is that about? And so when we're in our Power Hour, when, during the election time, when we were in Power Hour, people were answering the phone. And of course, we ain't making thousands and thousands and thousands of calls like everyone else, right? We're not powering through the calls because these are touchable conversations. They're life-changing conversations, right now. So I'm going to just bring up one of my calls. Y'all got a little time? Because I know we on time limit,
Well, shoot, go for it, girl.
So there's this lady we were in our calls and I called this lady and she was at her mother's house. I'm doing my Power Hour call, right? I call the lady and I'm like, can I speak to so-and-so? And she's like, this is her. And she paused. And I said, hey, sis, this is Aisha with Make It Work. I'm just calling to check on you, sis. I'm just calling to make sure you know that if you need rental assistance, I got that access for you. And literally, like when we're dialoguing, this is how we talk. Like I'm not changing up. There's no code switching. I'm literally just calling sis, this Aisha. I'm just calling to check on you. Baby was at her mom. Her mom had just died from COVID 3 days prior. She was at the house in that moment, cleaning her mom's house. She felt alone. She felt scared. And in that moment, she just needed someone to listen. And it was and what I say, what if I wasn't making those calls? What if I wasn't the one on the other end of that phone, right? Who knows what would have been the next moment in her life? But in that moment, she shared with me, my mom just passed 3 days ago from COVID. And I said, sis, I'm here. I'm listening. You have my full attention. What do you need? Where are we at? What do I need to do? And she just talked. And because I wasn't making power calls, because I was literally just there to serve, I was able to hear her and take that in. And from that moment to this moment, I text her, sis, you matter to me. I'm thinking about you. Just want you to know I care about you. You're not alone, right? And that's really what all these calls are. Like sometimes it's, the work is hard. We have mothers that are being put out, right? We have families that are on COVID that don't have food. We got people can't get unemployment. Like, this is my every single day. But you know what? I just told a lady the other day, she was like, I'm sorry, I keep calling you. And I said, no, don't be sorry. It is my absolute pleasure to serve you right now. I am absolutely here in this moment for you. And that's what the fuck we do here. Like, all the rest of that shit, I don't know what people do, to be honest. I don't know. I don't really care. But what we do here is we serve our people. And that's what we get up every morning to do. And that's anything, any pressure, any stress, any trauma, any shit that I've had to endure to get to this moment, it was all worth it. It was all worth it. And I do it 20 times over if I'm able to say that I served one person, right? But it just so happens that we've been able to serve 2,500 persons. So, in the end of the day, like, people, I hate when I show up places and they be like, what Make It Work doing? I'm like, we ain't doing shit. I'm saying it because I really don't give a damn if we doing something or not. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I know what we doing every day. And I know the work that we doing is long lasting. And if you don't know what I'm doing, I know the people we contact and do.
There it is.
I just want to put it out there, y'all. I know we're going over our time, but like, this is like the moment, and we never get to do this, and I never really get to say anything, but like, this is a time where I'm saying that if you want to do Black shit and you feel like you down and you want to make some changes, then I'm asking y'all to put y'all money where y'all mouth is and donate, because we was out here doing shit that other orgs is not doing. Yeah, y'all have funding to buy things and support the community, but we were personally giving Lyft rides over to turn in CDC paperwork. We were personally out of our own pockets buying car seats, delivering food. I gave away my kids' bed. Like, we're not just waiting on funding. We are really out in the community, helping the community, because we are a part of the community. And so we need money. Y'all don't see us because we're small and we're Black, but we need it. We're helping the community as best as we can. So if you want to support us, to support them, put your money where your mouth is.
And go to our website and donate.
And donate. And let me be clear. It's not like, I want to make sure that people understand. It ain't like we out here like saying, we ain't got the money to do this, this, and this. That's not the case. But there's some shit that we need money to do that we don't have access to the money to do that, right? There's some things that we would love to put in programming that the money isn't accessible to do those things, right? And so I want to make sure that everybody knows, if you want us to do, we doing great. But if you want us to do extraordinary shit, you need to give us some money. You know what I'm saying? You need to donate at Make It Work Nevada. .org. They ain't gonna never have me on this show again. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I hope they ain't gonna never have me on this show again.
We show lane. So let me wrap up this question. Okay. No, I love you, Aisha. And I just love the passion that you bring to it, to the work we all do. Because I feel like you express what we all feel deep down. So piggybacking off of all of that, what is your 2020 win?
My 2020 win, honestly, it has nothing to do with Make It Work Nevada, to be honest. My 2020 win is getting a sponsor for a bill for CEIC. So we are putting together a legislation that will ask for a new license or designation. Okay. And so it's definitely a little scary. We're introducing something. People don't know what CEIC is, Cannabis Equity and Inclusion Community. And, we partner with Make It Work a lot, which is, just one of the good, cool things about Make It Work. They ain't afraid of weed, right? And so CEIC, we got a sponsor for a bill. We're introducing a new designation, license designation. And so that's my win. That, again, I get to do this work, and, policy ain't fun, but, I enjoy it. So that's my 2020 win.
Love it.
Thank you
for joining us. Thank you for bringing all your spunk and energy and passion. And I'll see you soon.
And you know what, as I'm leaving, I just want to tell you, ladies, I really appreciate you. And, Make It Work has really just created a space for Black people and Black families and Black mothers and Black fathers to show up as their authentic self. And, when I'm here, I get to be a part of me that other people don't have access to. And I really just appreciate that platform and this space provided. Erica's really, open about us being ourselves, and just being able to do that is, it makes everything worth it. So I just really appreciate you ladies. You guys have a happy new year, even though I'm gonna see you in like half an hour. I love you.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh,
all right, we didn't. We have a whole party here today.
Thank you for those who have stuck with us, though. We appreciate you.
Anybody in the chat have any? What's your Wednesday win or your 2020 win? Whatever you got for us. You got to win for the week. You got to win for the year. Share us your win. Oh, Selena, my 2020 win is not being a grandma. My oldest graduating, have a roof over my head. Yes. And best of all, meeting you beautiful, caring, blessed ladies. That is so sweet.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
This is the motivation. This is what gets us, to keep on going. But
yes.
Wow, thank you all. I can't say it enough. We appreciate you all. Thank you, Sydney and Shonda, for sticking with me with this dang adventure. Walk it like you talk it.
Yes.
Because I know it was just an idea and it just, blew up to what it is. Yes. But I appreciate you all. I appreciate everyone in the team, actually, because sometimes I just have some ideas and y'all are always like, yeah.
You do. I appreciate that about you, Brenda, because you just have this like childlike, and I mean this not in a like immature way, but just this view of what's possible. And I think that just, it touches a special part of me. So
she reminds me of Ami. When she wants something, she just consistent until it happens.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then I even try to find solutions. So yes, I'm still bitter about my rap battle, but that's COVID. That's nobody at Make It Work or nobody else. But it's okay. Next year we're doing a rap battle. Watch.
We don't get a digital whiteboard.
Yes.
Insider. Okay. I think we're done.
Yes, announcements. Like Quentin mentioned in his little plug, we have our Make It Make Sense segment starting on the 7th of January, which is the first Thursday of the month. We are excited to welcome you all back to MIMS because we're going to be starting legislative session in February. So, all your political stuff and updates that you will need, Quentin got you. And then we also have our housing conversation that I'll let Shonda talk a little bit more tonight.
So it's going to be every third Wednesday at 5:00, and we want y'all joining in. Tonight we have a special guest. Her name is Bailey. She is from Legal Aid. And so if y'all got issues with housing or somebody harassing y'all, or y'all just want to answer some questions for some friends, join in and share the information for folks that may need to know.
Yep, we will be Facebook Live at 5:30 today with Bailey. So please join in, tune in, comment. I will make sure I will pass the comments along to, our host and our person, leading that conversation. But thank you all. We deeply appreciate you. Hope to see you all soon. And thank you, Derek. I don't think Derek was here earlier when we gave him his shout out for being a Ride or Die viewer. But he's on now. So thank you, Derek, for being a Ride or Die viewer. We appreciate
the support.
All right, y'all. Please make sure to visit our website, makeitworknevada.org. Like Shonda said, put your money where your mouth is if you like this.
Yes.
All right,
I'll see y'all. Bye.